Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 37 of the Lord Ninja Choke MMA Picks podcast. Today, we're going to be looking at UFC 323, which is headlined by Merab Dvalishvili in what feels like his 100th title defense of the year versus Peter Yan for their rematch bout. As always, I am joined by Dom in the US and Josh in Australia. And without further ado, we're just going to fly into the main event. So I guess I'll start us off. I get the honor of talking about the minus 500, which is the money line that Merab Dvalishvili currently is. Obviously, this is a rematch, which is probably one of the reasons that's so heavily in favor of Merab. But I just think that Merab is operating on a completely different level. I think the way that he weaponizes his cardio and the way that he manages to fight with such intensity across 25 minutes to an equal measure is just insane, and something that I just don't think any fighter can really deal with unless they can do the same, and I just don't think anyone can. I mean, in fairness to Petr Yan, I think he's also got good cardio and somebody who grows into a fight, so I think he probably in the championship rounds has the best chance of anybody of beating Merab. But Yan also isn't consistent across 25 minutes. He's a slow starter, and I think that in a fight where it's expected to go long, as pretty much all Merab fights are, each round matters. They're all of equal worth. None of them is no one round is worth more than another, and Petr Yan's probably going to be 1 or 2 rounds down going into round 3. So it's already a mountain to climb. I can't remember for sure, but I'm pretty certain that the amount of takedowns attempted by Merab in their first fight is something eye-watering that must be a record of some sort. Like, it was a 25-minute fight, so he got the most time to do so. He landed 11 takedowns, but if you click into that fight, Dom, the amount that he attempted, 49. How many times have you ever seen a fighter attempt 49 takedowns in a fight? It's ridiculous. Like, I genuinely don't know how you can win that fight if your opponent is attempting 49 takedowns, because apart from Travis Brown elbows, what can you do to win the fight? Like, it's insane. I mean, 6 minutes 53 seconds of control time off of 49 attempted takedowns is an atrocious return on investment, I guess you could say. But like, that number is just ridiculous.
Well, it's interesting because I was just looking at his takedown defense, and it's like 85%. So I'm assuming that Petr Yan has only ever been taken down by Merab, because how would he have 85%? Let's have a look at Petr Yan. Who's actually taken him down? Okay, Dawson Figueroa got him down twice. Okay, so he has been taken down by other people. But actually, he's implementing his own game, isn't he? His own takedown game.
Yeah, I think he's still got good scrambles and get-ups, though. So the point of him actually being relatively decent at fending off that kind of attack is still valid. And again, like, the thing I find really interesting about this one is that on paper, Petr Yan does have a lot of skills in the right area where Merab also shines. So I think that it's like a reasonably it's a fight Merab should take seriously, but also one that I still think he wins relatively confidently, if that makes sense. So for me personally, I just couldn't pick anything other than Merab, and very likely Merab by decision, therefore. But I mean, if anyone has any counterpoints or a case for Yan, then I'm all ears.
Yeah, the only thing I can say on Yan is that I think he does have some things to like about him. As you already mentioned, he's got good cardio, he's got good scrambling ability, and he showed in the first fight that he can actually get out of the takedowns. A lot of fighters can't once they're body locked by Merab. It's one-way traffic. But there was a bit of back and forth in their first fight. And the only other thing to add to that is that I saw an interview with Petr Yan where he said that he basically broke I think it was his right arm, or he broke one of his arms. Then I think it was the right. He said, just watch the fight and count how many times I throw that right arm. So I was like, this can't be true. So he literally threw his right hand if you rewatch the fight 3 times in the first 3 rounds. It was crazy. He said it was injured basically straight away, and so he couldn't use his right hand. So did pretty well, to be honest, too. And also, I mean, 49 attempted takedowns is just comedic, isn't it? It's like meme territory. I'm assuming that this time round it's probably not going to be quite like that, and hopefully Petr Yan is fully healthy. I'm fine with the pick of Dvalishvili. I imagine Josh doesn't have any any objections to that. But have you got anything to add on this fight?
Yeah, I was talking to my neighbor about this, and me and my neighbor yap every now and then about the UFC, and I was talking to him about Jan and how much of a danger he is to Dvalishvili, no matter how many seconds there are on the feet between the two, right? Like if the fight remains standing, Jan's got a chance to really attack that chin, and I don't really trust Dvalishvili's chin. Like, I get that he has been a dominant champion, but when you look back at his tape a while ago, if someone like Marlon or Rice can knock you down and make you hurt, then what the, I'm going to swear here, but what the fuck can Petr Yan do, right? I get the whole like broken arm, whatever the hell, but I do agree with the whole Dvalishvili decision thing, because obviously that's how he wins, but Jan's got a chance on the feet, and I don't know how long the fight will remain on the feet, but for however many seconds the fight's on the feet, Jan's gonna throw. So yeah, I mean, I agree with the pick, but I have my my trepidations about this whole thing. I feel a bit cautious about Jan and all that stuff now.
Well, I wasn't expecting that because I thought you were a massive Merab fan, but
I am.
I'm picking Petr Yan for the record. I should have said that. Like, I bet him. I think he's going to win this. I bet on Merab, as everyone knows. I bet on him to win the Umar fight when he was an underdog. But to be fair, transparent, I did also bet him. I bet against him with Sean O'Malley, and I bet against him with Corey Sandhagen. It's like a bit like doubling up every time you lose on roulette, right? So now I'm like betting bigger every time. I'm betting the biggest of the three fades on Merab is going to be Petr Yan. So I will be there in person as well. So yeah. Are we keeping Dvalishvili as the pick then, Josh? Because I assume that you were going to pick him. Yeah.
I was, yeah.
I've given it my spiel anyway. I think he's got, of all the opponents that Merab has fought recently, I think I agree with your assessment. I think he's the most dangerous, as you said, on the feet. And I think the size is the interesting thing. They're the same size. They're not like big, they're like short, stocky. And I think that's good for defending the takedowns, as we've already seen anyway in the first fight. So the second fight, Josh.
All right. Pantoja versus Van is a fight that I am pretty excited to see, because I mean, I've been a huge advocate for Van to fight for the belt. I've been backing him for a long time now, and I have never really been a big fan of Pantoja. And I know that sounds stupid, because I mean, everyone is a fan of Pantoja, but in every fight that he's been in which he defended his belt, there's always been moments in which he's been a bit exploited or a bit like exposed on the feet. And if there is anyone in the UFC division, the flyweight division, that can expose Pantoja on the feet for 5 rounds, it'll be Van. So my reason for really saying that is, if you look at Van's fight against his previous opponent, who was it? That was Royval, I believe. Yeah, he landed at around a 60% clip, which is ridiculously high for any striking heavy bout. To land at that high of a rate against someone like Royval is stupid. Like, not dumb, but like it's silly, right? So hang on, let me verify that 60%. Okay,
6%. You're right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And look at the volume there as well. So that even like that's even more impressive, right? For 3 rounds to land 209 strikes of 311, that's crazy. So on the feet, I do expect Van to thrive, but then again, I'm going to get questions about the whole takedown defense of Van, and my response is going to be, it's fine. I mean, he doesn't really get taken down that much, and if he does, he sprawls with his feet. And whilst Pantoja is a very sticky grappler, I don't really think that it's going to be enough, right? Like in each fight, it's a 5-round fight, so 5 times he can get, an opportunity to like fight on the feet, because every round starts on the feet. I just think that there are more opportunities for Van to succeed in this fight than there are for Pantoja to, succeed on the ground. so to speak. So my pick here, outside of all this ramble, is Van to win this fight. But that's me. I'm a Van stan. So yeah,
I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting an underdog pick this early in the episode. I was just looking back at Van's opponents to see if there's anyone who's really gone for the takedowns. I guess it would be Ray Tasuria. I can't say his name. Tasuria, thank you. He got him down 4 times apparently. I've forgotten that.
How long did he keep him down though? That's
not very long at all, right? I was going to say I thought that fight was 4 of 21.
Yeah.
That fight wasn't competitive at all. I don't think, was it?
Oh no, he got pieced up on the feet.
He didn't get finished though. The guy lasted, which is impressive. It's very hard to stay in the fight with Van with his volume. Quite a lot of decisions though, actually. Given that, it's interesting. Will, what are your thoughts here? Let's go back.
I'm also on the dog. I will be betting Josh Van. And yeah, do you know what it is? Like Pantoja is such a weird one. Like his career, and his status as the number one and the champion in the division is entirely like respected. But when it comes to him as a fighter, I just don't respect him as the elite, one of the best, or probably the best flyweight of maybe the best flyweight of all time. I just don't respect it, and I don't know why. I think it's because he's so like reliant on his grappling to make himself look elite. I mean, look at the Steve Erceg fight, right? I mean, we know a bit more about Erceg now because Erceg flew his way to the top of the division, didn't he? Like it was one of the quickest runs to a belt we've ever seen. I mean, Van himself has had a very quick run to the belt, but you look at what happened when Erceg fought Pantoja, and it was like down to the wire. Like I think there was one moment that swung the balance in the 5th round, but it was 2-2 going into the 5th. And Steve Erceg's good, but like, is Steve Erceg amazing? I don't know. Josh Van, if he can handle the grappling and the takedown threat, which I do believe he can. I don't know for sure, but if he can handle that, I think the odds on this one are crazy. Like, I don't think that there's any demonstration that we should be worried about Van's ability to keep Pantoja off him in a grappling aspect. And I think if the two of them are striking for 25 minutes, that's got to be favoring Joshua Van. So, Pantoja's, I mean, I actually don't know how old he is, but he looks quite old in that picture. And he's been around for fucking ever. So, like, he's got to be a bit older, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's 35.
Yeah, that's for flyweight, I'd say that's probably on the older side of your prime. Josh Van's a lot younger. I say that I don't really care as much as other people do. I will be siding with Van, probably betting Van. There's still question marks about that grappling, but I don't think it's like something I'm super worried about. And again, like he's the dog, you have to give him like a little bit of wiggle room in terms of like leeway.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I was obviously like tempted by Van, but I've just been burned after betting on Kai Kara France and Pantoja just dominating him so thoroughly. I was actually there. They fought on the same night. Of course they did. I think they squared off in the octagon afterwards. That was UFC 317, also in Vegas. And yeah, decision. You think you can finish Pantoja? Pantoja's pretty tough, right?
Yeah, he is, but he's also very hittable. That's the thing. Like that. I mean, if Van was to get a finish, I reckon personally it'll be in round 3, 4, or 5.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it. What do you reckon? 3, 4, 5, Will?
We'll go 4 to be a middleman.
Cool.
Yeah, that took me a bit by surprise. Before we came on, we said let's just going to pick all the favourites. And I think here, I'm going to lean towards Payton Talbott to beat Henry Cejudo, and I think it's worth referencing the odds before we have this discussion because I think this is somewhat disrespectful of Henry Cejudo and everything he's achieved. being plus 195 and Payton Talbot minus 230. But I get it. I understand that Henry's doing whatever he's doing, his podcast and all the extracurriculars that he has. He's probably he's going to be his retirement fight. I've heard. So that's always, something you want to be very wary of when betting on a fighter. So I personally won't be playing Payton Talbot at huge minus 240, whatever he is, but certainly expect him to win. Expect him to have learned from his mistakes against Barcelos. Think that Henry's pretty wily and probably will find a way to survive, maybe get Payton down a couple of times, but Payton Talbot will work back to the feet. I think it's going to play out closer than the odds suggest. I'll say Payton Talbot wins a decision 29-28. It's very hard to attack from a betting perspective. That's how I feel. Of course, Payton Talbot could just knock him out, but I think Henry's too wily for that. How do you guys see this one?
I'm just going to quickly say that Cejudo hasn't won for 5 years. He's 38 years old. I just cannot see an avenue in which Cejudo can win comfortably unless he really makes a perfect performance, which is not very possible at his age. He has so many distractions in life. He's not really a full-time fighter anymore. He's got so many other obligations, right? So I reckon he's doing this for the paycheck. And I like Cejudo. He's a cool dude, but I'm calling it how it is. Really, I just think that this is a swan song, and I think Cejudo is going to lose and retire in the cage, and it's going to be a big promotion thingamajiggy about it, or whatever they do, like a video package, and that's it. That's all.
Yeah. Well, what do you think?
I think pretty much the same. I absolutely hate it when guys do the whole retirement and then come back and then retire again. People forget that Cejudo actually has hung up his gloves in his, not in his prime, but like in the middle of a massive win streak when he was champion. And like, fair play to him, retire on top. That's the smart thing to do in martial arts because time is undefeated. But then, no, he has to come back, doesn't he? I assume it was all cash grab related, or maybe it was just that competitive drive. But like, he came back and looked average again. Not average, but he didn't look like Cejudo against Aljamain Sterling. Then he looked less than average against Merab, was it? And then he looked even worse against Song Yadong. And it's like, why are you still doing this? You've already taken a bit of a shit on your legacy. Your legacy is tainted by what you've done here. Why are you still going? And I don't think it's for like the right reasons. Not to mention the fact that even if this was not an issue, like even if that narrative didn't exist, he's also got like a 6-inch reach disadvantage against Talbot. Massive like age gap as well. He's nearly 40, and also like stylistically in these 3 comeback fights he's had, he hasn't really pushed the agenda on his wrestling that much. And if he has become even more striking reliant, like this is just danger. Like it's tricky, isn't it? That Payton Talbot loss to Raoni Barcelos was so shocking that I don't think any of us are going to forget it. But I think that honestly, I think the line bakes that in. I think Payton Talbot should be like up in the minus 300 region. Like obviously there is a fear that he could be grappled because Cejudo's insanely good at wrestling, but I think this one could look awful for Cejudo if he doesn't follow that path, and I don't know if I even trust him to do so. So I think minus 230 on Payton Talbot is like possibly an enticing parlay piece. I feel on. So yeah, Payton Talbot to win, probably a decision because the wrestling threat of Cejudo may cause him to be a little bit less aggressive. But yeah, hard to pick on how he does it. But I'm quite certain Payton Talbot probably gets the job done there.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I just think that Henry obviously doesn't need the money, I hope. Doesn't need to take this fight, so must back himself to a certain degree. Being a 125 for most of his career, he should have still some slight movement or speed. He's pretty quick. So hopefully that will help to counteract some of the reach. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I guess I just see it potentially being a bit closer given the experience of Cejudo, but I don't expect him to win. This is the next fight that we have on Topology. Will, have you given any thought to Jan Błachowicz fighting Bogdan Guskov?
I'm so conflicted on this one because it's a classic example of like somebody who hasn't fought super consistently and is getting up there in age and is also on a bit of a skid. But also that same person has proven themselves to be vastly superior to their opponent. So yeah, tricky. I mean, I think the fight is like lined very near a pick'em. It's one of those fights that I call an "I told you so" fight, where someone is going to look good when they win, but we don't know which guy because it could be either guy. So somebody's going to be holding a winning ticket and being like, "Oh, I told you so, bro." And it's like, yeah, but completely forgetting about the dangers because Jan Błachowicz, yes, he's lost 2 fights in a row, if memory serves. I haven't actually checked these stats here. But like, he's lost to 3 fights in a row. Oh, no, 2 fights and a draw. Drew against Ankalaev, lost to Pereira in a split decision that he used decent fight IQ, but actually didn't look very good grappling against Alex P, which is surprising, and then lost a pretty tepid, but not awful decision to Carlos Ulberg. Is that a sign that the 42-year-old he'll be nearly 43 by the time of this fight? Is that a sign that he's washed and on the decline? Or is it simply a case of him not being in his elite prime anymore and him facing the division's literal best guys? Don't know. Could be either of them. Yeah, hard to say. Time will tell. Bogdan Guskov, on the other hand, is a guy who you respect the dangerousness of, but I'm still very unsure. I mean, his wins. Nikita Krylov's chin has just abandoned him. I don't know where that disappeared to, but it ran off somewhere. So whilst that is a good win, I'm not, and I bet him as a dog there, I'm not super sold on that being a massive marquee win. The Billy Elikana fight, Billy came in on short notice and absolutely quit. He got put under some pressure. I mean, fair play to Billy. His UFC career has actually gone on to look far better than it was looking in that moment against Guskov. But again, asterisk on that one. Ryan Spann, his chin left as well. So did his IQ. So does every other bit of talent that man supposedly had. Again, asterisk, not that fussed about it. Zach Pauger, I mean, I barely even know what to say about Zach Pauger. Like, who is that guy? Don't really know. And then he lost his debut to Volkan Oezdemir, where he got submitted by a rear naked choke, but he got dropped first. Yeah, I mean, is it Guskov's time? Is he massively improved, and is he doing well? Yes. I mean, I don't need to say anymore. Like, you get the conundrum I've got here. I think if Błachowicz doesn't have decline and age fighting against him, I think he is the vastly superior martial artist and should show it across 15 minutes if he doesn't get a finish. Whereas if Błachowicz is on the decline and those things are causing him to be sort of hampered, then I think Guskov is going to see him as ripe for the picking and probably gets a finish. So I would lean towards Błachowicz for the pick just because I do think that he still has a lot to offer despite his age, but it's not a confident one. The fight's a pick'em, and I totally understand.
Yeah, I think there's hope for everyone, isn't there? If Błachowicz is 43 years old and still fighting and still having competitive fights with the young'uns, I think he's a bit of an outlier. Age-wise, I don't think many people can be competitive at 40, almost 43. He's not 43 yet. So Will is leaning Błachowicz, and I understand why. Definitely the high level competition, better all round mixed martial artists. I have a sneaky feeling Guskov's going to win it. I think I saw him training in the mountains with who was he training with? Another light heavyweight who's very good. Wasn't Ankalaev. I have to check his Instagram. But Josh, do you have any feelings on this fight?
I don't know who the fuck's gonna win this one. I really don't. Like, Will pretty much said what was on my mind. I don't know how he does it, but the dude's psychic. Yeah, it's old versus new, right? Like,
he trains with Walter Walker. Sorry, Walter Walker is the person I meant to say who trains with in Russia.
Is that for Guskov?
Yeah, I just saw on his Instagram that they were doing some hill sprints together.
Oh, they're both bald as well. Maybe it's a team baldy. I don't know. But if I was like blindly pick, because I really don't know who wins this one, I'd have to go for the young guy, with Guskov, because we don't know how much Błachowicz has deteriorated in the time that he's been away. Like, it's only been 7 months, but still, it's a bit like time catching up quickly to him and all that stuff, right? We never know when or if this fight now will be his red flag sign of like, oh, age has gone to him now. So I'm gonna be a safe pile of crap and go with Guskov here. It's a very, very casual take, but that's all I have on my mind at the moment.
I mean, that's the problem that I'm faced with. I'm sure Jan Błachowicz is a better fighter overall, but it's just he's looked so tepid. In the Ankalaev fight, he was competitive because he managed to leg kick Ankalaev, basically. He wasn't leading the dance. You can see that in the significant strikes. He's been outstruck by all of these opponents. He hasn't been in danger necessarily. But yeah, he's losing to the best of the best. He has a win over Rakic here. He knocked Rakic out, actually. Yeah, that's a tough one. Oh my god, I really should be backing Błachowicz for the Polishness. Oh god, I'm gonna since Will is on Błachowicz and you're on Guskov. I was gonna go Guskov because I like what you said about the age. I do think that makes a difference, but it's only a 3-round fight. I don't know. It's probably going to be his retirement fight, isn't it? You never want to bet on a fighter in their retirement fight. Yeah, go on then. Let's just stick with Yana.
That's all right. That's all good.
It will be a decision if he does win, I bet. But he's going to be in danger. I bet he gets clipped now. Oh dear. Yeah, that's a tough one. That's a tough one to pick. Right, the next one is you, Josh.
All right, an ex-champ versus an upcoming possible champ. Anyway, first of all, both of these guys are still in the prime. Really, I reckon Moreno, can still get that belt back. But the problem is with Moreno is that he's facing a specialist. Taira is really, really crazy on the ground. He is one of the most trickiest grapplers we've seen in a while. But will that be enough? Who knows? I mean, Moreno has fought killer after killer after killer, and he can mix it up on the feet. He can wrestle really well. He's got that experience in the UFC to really make it hell for Taira. And I mean, when you look at Taira's career, his wins have been always against like up and coming fighters and never contender level opponents. I mean, until now, of course. So this is really a big test for Taira. But I mean, if I was Taira and my manager was like, "Hey, you're fighting Moreno next," I'd be like, "Ah, fuck," I'd be like, "God damn it, not that guy. He's too good." So, as much as I like Taira and as much as I think that he has potential, I reckon he needs more growth time, because I feel like the UFC pushed him a lot early on, but that was during Apex cards and not during big grand stage fights like in the T-Mobile Arena, right? So my pick here would be Moreno, but it comes with a lot of like heartbreak making that pick, because I do like Taira, so that's my thing there. Yeah.
Which way are you leaning, Will?
The Moreno side. I think that what Brandon Royval was able to do against Taira is something that Moreno probably should have an even easier time doing, if that makes sense. Maybe not. I mean, it's difficult. He's only got 3 rounds to do it, and Royval had 5, which is a key thing here. But like, Moreno is somehow a very underrated grappler. Like, he's so well rounded that people, like, in a lot of his fights, he's happy to strike, so we forget about it. But like, if you look through Moreno's highlights of him in scrambles against some really good level of competition, the only time he's ever been like soundly beaten was against Pantoja. But like there are some highlights there. Like Moreno is very good at stopping those who want to primarily wrestle and grapple, and I think he should therefore be trusted. I don't think this one should be a pick'em because I think that Taira's main skill set runs headfirst into one of Moreno's best traits, which is his anti-grappling. Whereas the other way around, Moreno can win this fight on the feet if he wants to keep it there, and he could also have top control time of his own if he wants to as well. So I don't think this fight should be a pick'em. I think Brandon Moreno should be given the benefit of the doubt. He's bounced back really well from that championship sort of like hangover, and he just seems to be back to his usual best, operating as, I mean, somewhat of a gatekeeper, I suppose, now, because he's just sort of killing off the prospects. It reminds me sort of how Max Holloway protected Alexander Volkanovski's throne by knocking down all of the prospects that were trying to make their way up. It felt like if you wanted to get to the championship fight, you had to beat Holloway. And that kind of seems the same here for me in terms of Moreno and Pantoja. So, yeah, I think Moreno probably is the value side and also should be the pick side. So I'm interested in betting him when the lines come out in the UK in a few days.
Yeah, the line at the moment is, as you say, it's a pick 'em. Interesting that the main and the co-main are, somewhat wide. And then with these two fights, we just discussed the Jan Bogdan fight and this Moreno Taira fight being very closely aligned. I don't have any difference of opinion. I think that I've already bet Moreno a slight plus money. I think, like you said, the templates there also would call out the Amir Albazi fight, where he completely nullified Amir Albazi's attempts to grapple. So he's definitely got the skill set. I think Taira might have a few tricks up his sleeve, in terms of ability to get Moreno to the mat, so he might win a round. But I think Moreno should be comfortable here. So yeah, I agree with you. I think there's value on the Moreno side here. So yeah, Joy, I have this fight to break down now. I will talk about Maycee Barber and Karine Silva. I remember a lot more about Maycee Barber, and mainly because recently she pulled out of a fight. It's not here, actually. It will be in her record. Famously pulled out of a fight very, very last minute. I think it was unprecedented, I think, for a main event to be cancelled on the actual evening. So she was supposed to fight there in Blanchfield in May. She missed weight. What happened in that event? Did they promote a different fight to the main event?
I think it just cancelled. Like the event just stopped.
Yeah, something else became the main event, but stayed 3 rounds.
Okay.
Basically just the co-main, and then they changed the name of it, didn't they? I can't remember who it was.
Well, it says here Gamrot. Oh, sorry, yeah.
Gamrot Klein was what it was, wasn't it?
Gamrot Klein became the main event. Okay.
Yeah, we broke it down, didn't we? You broke down the Gamrot fight. You bet Gamrot, and I bet Erin, and it just fell apart. I remember now.
Yeah, because it was moments before. It was just at the start of the card. They announced that that Maycee Barber wasn't well enough to fight. So here she's hopefully healthy, going to make weight. She missed weight, obviously, in that previous one. She's taking on Karine Silva. Karine Silva is coming off a win over Dion Barbosa. And she had a loss before that to Viviana Rougeau. So, yeah, I mean, if you look at the stats for this fight, Karine Silva is logging over 2 takedowns per 15 minutes. But Maycee is also someone who takes people down. And the takedown defense of Maycee is much higher than Karine. I'm a bit torn, to be honest, because I just don't remember a lot about Karine Silva. I remember watching her and just thinking she's like a very boring fighter. She's looking to top time and control, lay and pray. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm looking at her record, and she hasn't beaten anyone good at all. And at the current odds, I think that Maycee is a pretty big favourite. She's minus 170. she opened there or thereabouts. Obviously, someone liked Karine, and Maycee got as high as -120, but it's come back down now. So -170. Yeah, I think I'm going to lean Maycee, but it's not a strong lean. I'm happy to be persuaded. If you guys have another take on it.
I mean, I got a take, but it's not really fight related. I mean, I have great concern about Maycee Barber's health, really, because to not feel well after trying to feel well for that 1 year. Well, so like between the Rose Namajunas fight that she got cancelled and that fight didn't happen to the Blanchfield fight, we all probably expected Barber to recover from whatever she was dealing with, and she didn't. And that Blanchfield fight was scheduled for May, right? So in those 7 months that May, June, 6 months that the fight was scheduled to happen, how much of those 6 months was she still recovering? How much of those 6 months was she taking time away from the gym to recover, or had to modify her training to recover, and all that stuff? If Barber can make weight and if she fights, great. I'm happy for her, but I still hold some caution because of like how much shit her immune system or her health is going through, right? So I would lean towards Karine here, but that's because of my caution about Barber. So it's one of those weird things, yeah.
No, fair enough. I think you called it last time. You mentioned that she was having health problems, and then she did. Will, what's your take on this?
Yeah, gotta give props to Josh for that. That was an insane call, I think. When you were just like, yeah, I don't even know if she'll make it, and she just didn't. It was quite crazy. But I don't. I kind of agree with pretty much everything that's been summarized here. I know a fair bit about Karine Silva because she came into the UFC and was just like really dangerous, and she was getting a lot of. I mean, her first 4 fights in Contender Series and UFC ended in finishes in the first half, which is obviously quite unheard of for a woman. And I kind of was like, this is papering over the cracks that she's actually pretty mid in terms of like minute by minute winning, which is obviously the superior priority in a women's fight, because you can't expect to be finishing, especially as you get to the top of the division. She won her first decision against Ariane De Silva, or Ariane Lipski, where she showed good fight IQ and went for the takedowns. We all know you can grapple Ariane Lipski. She's like white belt level. Did get outstruck there though, which is interesting. So really for me, because Ariane Lipski is a good striker as well. She's the violence queen, or queen of violence. She's happy to bite down the mouthpiece and get after it in like gritty kind of fights. So for me, that tells me that Karine Silva's chances of winning are very much predicated on how much she can bully an opponent. If there's one woman in women's MMA that I don't think you can bully, I think it's Maycee Barber, because Maycee Barber is very like ox-like. She's very stocky, and she will stand there, and she's the one bullying women. She's the one bullying other women. She gets finishes of her own. She finished Gillian Robertson back in the day. She finished Amanda Ribas relatively more recently. I just think that this is a nightmare kind of like ask for Karine Silva if everything goes as it's supposed to, because she's going to run headfirst into the more superior fighter, because Barber has the minute winning ability to win a decision more likely than not, and Karine Silva doesn't. That she's going to have to get into a firefight against a very willing dance partner, which is not what she's used to. But again, all of that said, before you can wrap it up, you have to go back to the discussions about the health of Maycee Barber. Can you trust her? I don't think so. So I'm hoping the line stays where it is, and I'm waiting until weigh-ins. And if Maycee Barber shows absolutely no issues and that she seems fine, then I think maybe Maycee Barber at -170 is not the worst bet in the world. But it's kind of a hard sell. I don't expect anybody who's just listened to me say that will go, yeah, he's absolutely right. Probably think I'm an idiot. So I mean, just pass on the fight, guys. But I think Maycee Barber is the pick side, in my opinion.
Yeah, Will, it's you next to talk about Abdul-Malik versus Trocoli.
Well, I mean, you can't talk about Antonio Trocoli without talking about our queen, our Lord and Savior, Mackenzie Dern. What a woman. 5 unit max bet. Whoop, whoop. Anyway, I don't know what to, I'm stalling. I don't know what to say about this fight. God, I mean, who even are these blokes? I know that Trocoli is shite, and I'm massively surprised he's still in the UFC. I mean, is he anything other than a stepping stone? I mean, his last loss was to Tresean Gore. I mean, what can you say that's good about Tresean Gore except that he beat Trocoli? You know what I mean? Like, not to be a wiki capper or an MMA Mats kind of guy, but like, if you can't beat Tresean Gore and you're getting finished in round 1 by him, what can you do? And probably nothing. So he's being given the task of facing Mansur Abdul-Malik, who, I mean, he did draw with Cody Brundage. It was overturned, wasn't it? I can't exactly remember what it was. Just looking into that now. There was a headbutt. So it was like 1-1 going into the 3rd round, I think. And yeah, somebody headbutted somebody, and then it turned into a draw. I don't know. I guess I'd have to rewatch the fight. I mean, Abdul-Malik is definitely the more dangerous guy of the two of them. He's got 3 finishes in the UFC / Contender Series. Todorovic, Nick Klein, and Wes Schultz. Again, not a high level of competition. It's just one of those fights, isn't it? Where it's like you would expect Trocoli to just get steamrolled, and Abdul-Malik is a steamroller. But at the same time, he hasn't really proven himself to be somebody you can really, really trust. And I just had a look. There are currently no betting lines for this fight yet. So I don't know how steep we're talking, but I assume we're talking steep. Like, I'm picturing a minus, anywhere from like minus 300 to minus 600 probably. Just because, you know, what happens when a guy who steamrolls people meets a guy who gets steamrolled. I assume that's what we're dealing with.
I think that's fair. I can see opening at minus 400, closing, minus 550 or something like that. How does he usually get it done? Abdul-Malik, he's a KO artist, is he?
I guess. I think so. Honestly, that was the most waffly breakdown I've ever done, and I waffle a lot. But that one, I had no right talking for anything more than 5 seconds there.
He's a KO artist. He's finished his 3 UFC opponents, as you mentioned, punches. So I guess we'll go for TKO.
Yeah, sounds
Josh,
good.
Any advances on this?
Nothing. Blank. Nothing. Just
round 1 then.
Yeah. Just why not?
I think it's you now. Got to do.
All right.
This is a fun fight.
God, yeah. This is one hell of a fight. So Ziam has made his way for his opponents really quickly. Like, I mean, he has made such a good comeback to his career, because I remember him losing a fair bit a while ago, but then he, came back and all that stuff. He looks good, and he's a lot longer and taller than the Sadykhov. I don't really think that Sadykhov's grappling is going to be too much of a danger to Ziam because of the clinch striking from Ziam and all that stuff. But I mean, Sadykhov does train with like Aljamain and Merab, so maybe he's used to that position. I don't really know. All I know is that I have a soft spot for Ziam. I like him no matter where he fights. He's a highly talented, highly multifaceted fighter. All those nice things you can say about a guy or a fighter, yeah, you can say it about Ziam. So that's gonna be my very biased pick here. Although the odds probably suggest that Sadykhov's going to win this one, but I don't care. I don't give a shit.
No, Ziam's the favourite. He's quite big.
Okay.
Ziam is minus 180 at the time of this recording.
Yeesh, okay.
Sadykhov is plus 155, and on that note, I'm definitely interested in Sadykhov, but I wouldn't play it straight. I would play it as a decision, no action, because yes, Ziam has finished. He went to a decision with Davis. He did finish Matt Freveler, but we know about Matt Freveler now. He went to a split decision with Puelles, which doesn't age too well. Split decision with Jai Herbert, and a decision against Figlak. Whereas Sadykhov finished Motta, finished Bonfim, drew with Borshev, which hasn't aged too well. He finished McKinney, and that was a technical stoppage, doctor stoppage, but basically all his fights pretty much are ending in finish. So if you take out the decision as a outcome, I'll probably play Sadykhov decision no action, which will probably be minus money. But that's my thought at this point in time. I don't have any issue with taking Ziam as the pick. Probably a decision. And I know, Will, you're a fan of Ziam as well, aren't you? So how do you see it going?
I think it's one guy who's overrated and one guy who's underrated. I look at Sadykhov's record and I just think he's very lucky to be 5-1 in the UFC Contender Series promotion. I mean, let's not comment on his Contender Series opponent. He makes his debut against Evan Elder and gets very lucky in that the tide is turning. I think it was 1-1, and he opens up a cut on Elder that stops the fight. Terrance McKinney win was good. Borshev draw, that's a bad result. I don't remember why it was a draw. If it was a 10-8, I assume so. Strange fight. The Bonfim fight, yeah, fair enough. Again, kind of finished under weird circumstances, but Bonfim's not really anything to write home about these days. And the Nicholas Motta one, I was on Sadykhov there, and boy, did I shit myself. I mean, Nicholas Motta, dangerous guy, but he's not very good. You shouldn't be getting dropped and almost finished by him. Shout out to Sadykhov's chin, though. And I guess that ties in with what you're saying about the finish no action. Whereas Ziam is not the most lethal dude, and Sadykhov has proven himself quite durable. The thing is, I like everything about Sadykhov's game. I think he's a good striker. I remember coming into the Evan Elder fight, I did a fair amount of research on his regional tape because I was quite impressed by him. But I think that the expectation versus reality of his actual UFC performances has got me very confused, and I'm not that big of a fan of him. Whereas Ziam, somebody that I wasn't super high on when he came into the UFC, but I think the run that he's currently on, that 5-fight win streak, is impressive. The Mike Davis one last time was a big eye-opener, but I think we can all agree Mike Davis has had a weird year, or a weird couple of years. Still don't really know what to make of that one. Just feels like a very high variance fight to me, really. I mean, there's just guys, these guys, you think you know how good they are, and then they either massively overperform or underperform. And there's just so many sort of results that have asterisks that I just can't really call it. I mean, Farid Ziam went to a split decision with Claudio Puelles. It literally feels like every fight I'm looking at on their records, I'm just like, wow, that's weird. So, yeah, fuck knows. I mean, I guess Ziam, I do think Sadykhov could be a live dog, but I do also think Ziam probably wins. So the scorecards no action bet does sound very like a very appealing angle. So I definitely see that one working out nicely. But yeah, Ziam's a pick, I guess.
Yeah, Ziam decision seems like a safe way to go. And then next up, we have Grant Dawson, KGD, against Manuel Torres, El Loco. I think this is the quintessential striker versus grappler matchup, with obviously Torres being the striker and Dawson being the grappler. They both have good records in the UFC. They're both on a good little run at the moment. So look at this. Dawson beat Diego Ferreira. Let's go in and have a look at that. Yeah, he beat Diego Ferreira, Rafa Garcia, Joe Selecki. That's a pretty good run of decent UFC competition. He lost to King Green with a jab in the first round within 30 seconds. That was a bad look. People are saying Dawson's chinny because of that. I mean, it happens, right? It's mixed martial arts. You get flash knockouts. He beat Damir Ismagulov. That's a great win. I know Ismagulov was at the tail end of his career. I think that might have been his last UFC fight. Beat Mark Madsden and beat Jared Gordon. That's aged well. The UFC a long time. And Torres is a bit of a brawler. So he's beaten lower level of competition. He beat Nicholas Motta. You just mentioned him. Well, beat our beloved Chris Duncan. That was a kind of strange one, I think. I think that was in the first round. And I think Duncan sort of obviously gave up his back and got choked out. He lost to Ignacio Bahamondes, and I think it was quite closely lined fight, Torres against Bahamondes, and Bahamondes just completely dismantled Torres and showed he doesn't have that much striking defense. But then Torres, my God, every single round, one. I just noticed that all his fights end in the first round. Yeah, I think this is there's some money coming in on Torres, which I was finding perplexing. Okay, it's good. Dawson is going back to being a favourite. That's good. So he opened -200, and then he was bet down to -265. Then money's coming on Torres, and right now it's -190. For me, I think Dawson could end up being the -300, looking like a -300, because I think he's gonna take down Torres as soon as he can. And for every minute this is standing, yes, Dawson's at risk for sure. But Dawson is just an elite grappler, one of the best in the lightweight division. And I just think that once he gets him down, I think he'll finish him, because all of Manuel Torres' fights end in round 1. So let's go for Dawson by submission in round 1. That's my prediction. But yeah, you guys tell me.
Round 1, really? Okay.
That was a joke. That was more because Torres has never been outside of the first round. We can go round 2 if you don't like it.
I mean, I was gonna say maybe a decision, but for Dawson, but like, yeah, I agree with what you said. Like, I mean, I reckon Dawson's gonna win this one. He's more experienced in the UFC. He's faced, better people than Torres. So, I mean, to put it very quickly and bluntly, this feels like a fight in which the wrestler or grappler does his thing, and he out wrestles and out grapples the striker in Torres. So Dawson's going to be my pick, and yeah, maybe not by submission in the first round, but certainly by some way. Yeah, decision maybe. Yeah, that's my go-to. Well, yeah, let's go submission. Why not?
I think the problem is that Torres is just going to be going hell for leather, right? He's gonna try and get back to his feet, and I think you can't do that against Dawson. So if Torres plays safe, which there's no evidence that he ever plays safe, because he's 6 fights now ending in the first round, I think it's likely to either he finishes Dawson or Dawson's going to absolutely ragdoll him on the mat and find probably the rear naked choke. I think playing the under here on this fight might be a good look, because Dawson is pretty lethal on the mat. What do you think, Will?
Yeah, I'm itching for the betting line to make its way over to the UK, because I think we're getting a serious discount on Grant Dawson. The Bobby Green thing, like, yeah, he got put away with a jab. It was really weird. It was such a shame. Like, I personally have always been a huge Grant Dawson fan as a bettor. I just think he's so reliable. He's just, yeah, he does his thing every time. You know what you're getting, and you know you're going to get a good performance out of him. And yeah, I mean, the wins speak for themselves. And had he not lost to King Green, I think he'd be like a serious player in the division now. It's taking ages for Dawson to actually be demonstrated as the caliber that he is. Why is he fighting Manuel Torres on, like, apart from that King Green fight, that's like almost a 6-fight win streak. It's crazy. And Manuel Torres, like, yeah, it's very scary early, so I guess he has that route. But like you say, if he gets dumped on his ass in the first 30 seconds, Grant Dawson -190 is hilarious.
I think inside the distance, you've got to play inside the distance. I'll tell you why, right? The only people who can survive against Grant Dawson, Diego Ferreira. He is a seriously good BJJ player, right? Ismagulov, Russian wrestler. If you are not on a level with Grant Dawson, he is going to finish you, guaranteed. Ground and pound or submission. He's going to work for better positions. This is not a decision fight. I'm pretty confident. It's rare this comes along. I usually think things are going to decision, but I'm pretty confident either he gets knocked out, in the fashion of King Green in the first round, or he's going to finish Torres on the ground, because they're not on the same level on the mat.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what odds we'll get for fight doesn't go, but
I think it'll be juiced. Yeah, you only have to look at the records for a little bit to realize that Torres is not going to survive on the ground in the way that Dawson is not going to survive long on the feet. But to be fair, actually, Dawson has got better. He's looked much better on the feet, a lot more comfortable in his last 3 wins, enough so that he can get to the takedown. But he always wins through the ground game.
Is Dawson even ranked? Carry on with the show. I will figure that out in the background. But I don't even know. I bet he's not.
We're giving Torres a chance to get to round 2, but I honestly think that it's going to end in round 1. But let's keep it as round 2. Right, who's doing McKinney, Chris Duncan? I think it's you, Will.
Yeah, Will.
I think he is. Yeah. He's ranked 13th, by the way. Soon to be top 10. Anyway, wow, what a fun one this is. Terrance McKinney versus Chris Duncan. I feel like everyone already knows how they feel about this one, right? Two guys who are pretty dangerous, to say the least. They'll bring it early. It's going to be a car crash. It's two very lethal guys going head to head. But I guess the only thing that swings it is that Chris Duncan has proven himself very resilient in the face of adversity. He has been hurt and, pulled victory from the jaws of defeat on multiple occasions, whereas Terrance McKinney has pulled defeat from the jaws of victory himself. I've confused myself with that quote. You know what I mean? Terrance McKinney finds a way to look like an absolute badass in round 1 and then just shit his pants and lose in round 2. So if Chris Duncan's going to be surviving when we get to that second round, I don't know what happens to McKinney. He sits on the stool and it magically just saps all of his MMA ability. It's really weird. It's going to be a high variance chaotic brawl in round 1. And if we get to round 2, Duncan should increase his probability of winning. So I guess Duncan's got to be the side because he's just got more. He's got more of my faith in terms of durability and still being in the fight. But I mean, I wouldn't want to put my money on Duncan as a favorite in this one. I mean,
is he a favorite? I didn't realize he was.
I think he's like minus 180. I think, which is a bit steep based off of the reasoning I've given. But he has to be the favorite, I assume.
Wow, he's minus 185 now. That's crazy. You can't play that. You can't touch that.
But the fight goes the distance is going to be like plus 1,000 or something. You see, so I don't really. There, it feels like there's loads of ways to play this, but they're all going to be juiced as hell. I mean, the cleverest one you should probably do is Dutch McKinney round 1 with Duncan round 2, if possible. Yep. But I don't know if you even get good odds on that.
I think what I've learned about McKinney is you can definitely play McKinney round 1. It's pretty good value, and I think live betting Duncan if it goes to round 2. If Duncan hasn't looked to taken too much damage, even if he has taken damage, like you say, we've seen him come back from the dead before. So I think Duncan live after round 1 is a good bet. Or like you say, McKinney round 1. Josh, what's your take on this one?
Yeah, pretty much what Will said. I mean, McKinney is good for 5 minutes, and then he's not much like my sex life, right? So
you can go 5 minutes. That's
bad. So why not get Duncan round 2 KO? Let's go.
Let's do it. All right, what's next? This one is for you, Josh.
Oh, okay, here we go. Vettori, he is a notoriously tough fighter to put away, and Ferreira is known for putting people away. Like, no matter if it's submission or KO, he can get it done in the first 2 rounds. But Vettori's been at the top for a long time. I don't think he's been knocked out in his losses. I can't remember, but if he hasn't been knocked out or finished in his past 4 losses, then I think that Vettori can win this one because he is experienced in dealing with that whole heavy hitting opponent pressure kind of stuff, right? So as much as I like seeing Ferreira knock people out, I don't think you can easily put away Vettori. I mean, it's so hard. Israel's tried oh god, I'm blanking on names right now, but pretty much anyone in the top 5 ranked has tried, right? And they all failed. I mean, I don't see how Ferreira can get it done. So yeah.
I mean, look at Vettori's record; it's crazy, right? Look at this decision. Doesn't matter whether he wins or loses; it's a decision, right? Dating back 10 fights in a row, like you say, everyone's tried. It's crazy. The question I guess I have for you guys is his chin eventually going to crack? And is Bruno Ferreira, who is like a little Powerball, does he have the power to do it? Because he's very impressive in his last 5 fights. He's 4 out of his last 5 fights he's finished pretty quickly.
I suppose so, but look at the volume of strikes he's landed, so which tells me that he's a power puncher, not a volume puncher. So how much of the power will be there in the 2nd and 3rd round, So that's my main,
Yeah. I see that. So you're leaning
It's a good
Vettori
fight.
then, are you? Decision again.
Yeah, why not? What were you saying, Will?
I like the highlight there that he is a power puncher, not a volume puncher. And on your question, Dom, I mean, it will crack eventually, but I don't think you can ever predict it's going to. I therefore assume he probably won't. But I still think Bruno Ferreira wins the fight.
Really?
I think he'll probably be a big favorite as well.
No, it's even money. Look, it's not.
No fucking way. It's even money. Holy shit. I'd be all
good
over
God.
Bruno Ferreira at those odds. That's crazy. Like, Vettori's so washed. Like, he's not.
But I mean,
He's not-
Bruno Ferreira hasn't beaten anyone on Vettori's level. That's the issue. Look at. I mean, Jackson McVeigh. It's a gimme, right? Petrosian. He's not great. He lost to Abbas, right? I think that's the fight to watch if you want to bet before you bet Bruno, because then you get at least 3 rounds of action before he gets finished by Abbas. And you know, Abbas was destroyed by Strickland, and I always think of Strickland and Vettori as sort of fairly similar. They train together. They're high volume punchers only. I think the Stoltzfus finish again. It's so quick. You didn't learn much here, and same with the Phil Hawes finish. You didn't learn much, so I wouldn't be so quick to say the odds are wrong. Yeah, I think you need to. I think this is the one to watch. I can't remember how he looked through this fight.
He looked good, and then he gassed out.
No, okay, that's not good because you know Vettori's not going to gas out.
Yeah, true. But I just think. Do you trust Vettori to finish him in round 3? I just think he's going to get his shit pushed in.
I think that Bruno Ferreira is live, and I think if you're going to play him, decision no action probably will make a lot of sense, because if Vettori's going to win, it's going to be a decision, right? He's not finishing anyone. Last 10 fights have gone to decision. He doesn't separate well. If you wanted to play the money line, I wouldn't hold that against you. I'm going to lean with Josh on Vettori just because, for the reason you said, Will. Like, until I see that Vettori chin can be cracked, I don't see how Bruno Ferreira wins this. I mean, he's probably going to shoot for some takedowns, but Vettori's got great takedown defense. He's not bad grappling himself. He's just basically very good at everything.
But he did just get outstruck by Brendan Allen.
I think Brendan Allen's shown that he's a good fighter. You know, I rate Brendan Allen. And obviously, I should have bet him in. Be one of the only people who bet Brendan Allen against RDR. Although on reflection, I was thinking about the other day. I was thinking actually, RDR was ill. He had some issue which we don't know what it is. So you can never know that, right? Like, you can never know that you're getting the best or the worst version of a fighter. So I don't know how that fight plays out, RDR and Allen. But anyway, let's assume that Allen beat RDR fair and square. That's aged quite well now, you know, Vettori going close with Allen. I mean, Vettori did better than RDR. So
one thing I would highlight, right? So Marvin Vettori loses a decision, loses 4 rounds to 1 against Roman Dolidze. Doesn't get dropped, doesn't get finished, no grappling at all. How come Bruno Ferreira can't do that as well? I get that, like, the power is all on Bruno's side. I get that he probably won't finish Vettori, but I think he still wins the rounds by demonstrating that power, because Vittori's got pillow fists.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think he's going to have to wobble him or something. I don't know if Vittori's even been wobbled. Like, he's just a blockhead. So Ferreira has to put serious volume out there. If he's not, Vettori puts out serious. He pumps the jab a lot. I think that the wash narrative is definitely a real thing. He's had a lot of fights, taken a lot of damage. I think Bruno Ferreira's live to win the fight. I just think that it probably is fairly close, unless Bruno Ferreira is going to do his thing and like knock him out early. I think a decision is going to be pretty sketchy on either side. No, you think that Bruno Ferreira throwing? I think he throws less. Well, he surely must throw less.
Yeah, he does throw less. But then he's also, he throws less. It's fair to say.
And losing a decision to what's his face? You just mentioned Dolidze. There's no harm in that, because I mean, he beat him the first time round. And I think the second time round he was injured. I think he came back. Yeah, that was right. He was 2 years out, right? So June 17th, 2023. I knew there was a reason why he didn't look so great. He'd been out for 2 years. So that was his first fight back. There was talk that he hadn't fully recovered. I don't know if that's true or not, but he just didn't look right. He looked a lot better, I think. Look, if you look at the significant strikes thrown in the Brendan Allen fight, I mean, this was mighty close. Brendan actually won this because he got the takedowns and controlled Vettori. So maybe Bruno can land some takedowns and control Vittori. That might be how he does it. I'm not. I don't have a strong read on this. I just don't think it's so like clear to me that that Bruno is the side. But I wouldn't, I think if I was going to play Bruno, I want to play decision no action for sure, if it's good odds. But yeah, we're gonna for the sake of the podcast, we're gonna pick Vittori.
Fair enough.
But I know you gave. I can see where you're going with the Ferreira side. And now I'm going to ask if you want to trade Barboza Turner, Will, so I can take Aslan Baraniewski. I'm assuming that's something you'd be interested in.
Yeah, we're gonna have to, mate. I don't know what the hell to say about that.
So let's go to you again then.
Yeah, so I mentioned it earlier on when we were talking about Henry Cejudo, guys who retire and then come out of retirement less than a year later. Like Jalen Turner fucking retired in 2025, and here we are in 2025 talking about his next fight. It really annoys me. It probably shouldn't annoy me quite so much, but it does. Anyway, Edson Barboza is kind of in that complicated chapter in his career. Clearly regressed, clearly not the same guy he used to be, but also not completely useless. This isn't like a Tony Ferguson, BJ Penn level of like washed. He's still operating at a relatively like competitive rate. I believe his fight against Drakkar Klose was competitive enough. Lerone Murphy wasn't competitive, but he still survived 25 minutes, which I think is impressive. And then before that, he's scoring, a decision win over Sadiq Youssef is impressive. And an early finish over Billy Q is also relatively impressive. So it all depends on Jalen Turner's mentality, really. I assume the fact that he came back quite quickly is actually probably a good thing, in that he probably was like, do you know what, I'm not done, and he's probably got like a new lease of life in his career. So I would expect that to actually fuel him in a good way. And if Jalen Turner looks fine, he should be winning this fight. I mean, he's got a big size advantage. He's a decent enough grappler to get at Barboza, who's always kind of struggled with that. Turner's not got the ideal style for Barboza, which is somebody who's going to pressure him. But I still expect Turner to be favored. So I would pick Turner. But I think he's like minus 250, minus 225. I'm not enthusiastic about betting him at any odds like that, really. There you go, spot on. Yeah, I mean, an Edson Barboza decision win or some sort of finish would not surprise me a whole lot. But if not, I think Turner should get the nod. Decision, I'd probably say.
Yeah, I have no qualms with that. And yeah, what do you think, Josh?
I mean, the reason why Turner retired, I think, was due to like his mental health, right? He was kind of struggling with the competitiveness of like mixed martial arts, all that stuff. So I'm intrigued to see how he bounces back, because I mean, to fix one's mental health, it can change a career, really. I mean, we've seen so many people who see sports psychologists and suddenly the whole career's changed. So I'm going to go with Turner too. I mean, he is younger. He's got more momentum, kind of, compared to Barboza. So yeah, just to put it very quickly, yeah, I reckon Turner can get it done.
Inside the distance, sorry, or are you happy with the decision?
Oh, decision. Sorry, yeah, that'll do. Yeah.
Yeah. Although I do believe that didn't Barboza get hurt in his fight with Sadiq Youssef? That was a comeback, wasn't it? Because I think he got dropped in round one, and Sadiq Youssef went for the finish and then gassed out. Yeah. So I'm wondering if Barboza is sort of a little bit chinny. I don't know how his previous fights went. Let's have a look. Okay, so he went to decision. He didn't. Did he get dropped? No, he didn't get dropped by anyone else. I guess maybe he got dropped by Youssef, and then he dropped Youssef.
Dropped by Bryce Mitchell, apparently. Fucking hell.
Yeah, but he's managed to stay safe against two pretty dangerous guys. Obviously, Lerone Murphy's more dangerous, but I remember that fight. Lerone got some flack, didn't he? Because he just played it so safe. Look at that, 220 to 79. Yeah, let's just stick with decision, but I think there might be some potential for playing Turner by finish, maybe. Because you remember about Turner, he's very dangerous, right? I remember that, but he's very live, especially early. If you look at his fights, none of these going to decision, guys. Look, 1-2-1, 3-3, 1-2-1. Has he ever gone to decision? He's never gone to. We're gonna have to rethink. Oh no, wait a second. Sorry, I'm just reading numbers out. I'm so tired. He's gone 2 split decisions here, but the last 3 fights have ended inside the distance. Yeah, he's definitely the finish versus the decision is pretty. So 3 decisions in the UFC out of his how many fights? So yeah, I think. Yeah, I think we need to consider that ending to the fight. I think either he finishes or it's going to be a decision win.
Yeah, I'm convinced. I remember he also probably should have put Moicano away in round 1. He did the awkward walk-off KO mistake. Yeah, he probably is dangerous early. And then I said it earlier on, like that actually being able to push pace early on Barbosa and not letting him like settle into the fight has always been the way to beat Edson. I mean, I remember Justin Gaethje did that in his like sophomore fight, I think it was, in the UFC.
Yeah, when has Barbosa been finished though? That's the question. He's like he's the opposite. It's everything is just unanimous decisions. No, he has been finished by Gaethje. Yeah, he has been finished.
They got him out there. Yeah, a lot of his submission losses, I think, if I remember correctly. He's also been grappled, which we know Turner can also do. I think Turner's got multiple ways to skin a cat. Yeah, I think Turner probably actually will finish him.
So, are we thinking maybe knocks him down and subs him?
Could do, yeah.
What do you think, Josh?
I feel like a backpack movement might happen. You know, like how he jumps on the back whilst Barbosa is standing and just goes for the choke. But that's just me imagining shit. Like I don't know how it really goes, but you know, I'll follow you guys and just go with whatever you guys say.
Round 1 TKO.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, maybe not that, but like I'm leaning more sub than TKO. But
you're thinking sub. Okay, let's stick with submission round 2.
Yeah. Why not?
We are almost at the end of the card.
That we are.
2 fights left, and they are both very good fights. So the penultimate fight we're going to talk about is Ibo Aslan versus Iwo Baraniewski. I know a little bit about Iwo Baraniewski because I was researching his fight with Muhammad Ali. Yes, that's right. There's another Muhammad Ali. It's not the one you're thinking of. It's on his Contender Series fight. He knocked out Muhammad Ali in about 20 seconds, I believe. It was a very quick TKO. And he is 6-0 with just that Contender Series fight, but he's a favorite, which is surprised me and disappointed me at the same time. He is a -140 favorite at the time of recording. He opened -150. He shot up to -120, and now he's probably where he should be. I'd say this is actually probably fairly accurate because this, Ibo Aslan is pretty mid in the UFC, right? So Ibo Aslan has fought a very poor fight against Billy Alicana. He was a big favorite. I bet on Billy there. I think he was +200. And I bet him live. I didn't bet him pre-flop, I should say. I could just see the way the fight was going, that he was putting out more volume, and he won a decision in Australia. Ibo Aslan was finished by Ion Cutelaba. Before that, he beat the punching bag that is Rafael Sequeira, and he beat the lover boy. Is that his name? And Anton.
I think so.
This guy is, he's awful at martial arts. Sorry, Anton. I think he should be a singer instead. So Ibo Aslan to look very, very mid in the UFC, and I think that Ivo's skill set, which is basically he's a European judo champion, and if you watch his regional and his amateur fights, he wins a lot of fights through grounding his opponent and then doing ground and pound. So I think if this stays standing for 3 rounds, that's Ibo's path to victory. Keep it standing, try and like low volume outpoint him over 3 rounds. But I think that Iwo Baraniewski made a statement. I think he got a taste he'd been to Vegas already for the Contender Series. He got a taste. Now he's going to be in the stadium in the T-Mobile. I'll be there supporting him. I'm biased. I think Ivo's going to get it done. Round 1, TKO. Maybe round 2. What do you guys think? Have I convinced you?
Let's go Poland.
Yeah. I mean, let's go Poland. But I find it funny that the nicknames are so opposite. You know, you got Aslan, the last Ottoman, and then you got Rudy. It's like fucking hell. So
Yeah. I don't know what Rudy's about.
Yeah, I'm good with your pick right there. You did the tape, you did all the work, so why not?
Well, the thing is, I have to assume Ibo Aslan's on the tape, so I think he'll be quite. Well, the thing is, he always walks forward, right? And that if he walks forward, then it's going to be just an epic car crash. But he didn't do that against Delicana, but he just looked out of sorts. So I'm just going to assume that it was the travel to Australia, maybe the bad weight cut or something. I think we're going to get fireworks. I think Baraniewski could get dropped, recover. Ibo could get dropped, recover. So yeah, I don't think you should necessarily bet this fight. But if you're going to bet it, bet Baraniewski inside the distance. We've got one more fight left.
Yeah.
Myron Santos and Mohamed Naimov.
Yes.
I don't know what it is about Myron Santos, but I never remember anything about the guy. Like, he's had a few UFC fights. Beat Sadiq Yusuf last time, didn't he? But I couldn't tell you a thing about him apart from that.
I mean, all I know is that he's Muay Thai's stick. I mean, he's got such clean striking. He's the Ultimate Fighter finale win over, I think it was Khan Knopfler or some Australian dude, was insane. And I you guys know me, I'm a sucker for strikers. So I mean, maybe there's bias, but I reckon Santos can cause a bit of trouble. Even though Naimov's a spooky name, so
yeah, I mean, so Santos is a big favorite. Well, he's 1.5 minus 200 right here, so I think that's interesting. He looked great, didn't he, in his fight against Sadiq Yusuf? I bet Yusuf it was a terrible bet. Absolutely dominated him. Francis Marshall split decision. I think that's the reason I probably bet on Sadiq Yusuf, because this wasn't a very convincing win.
Interesting that three takedowns from Marshall. Marshall's obviously not very good, but like, if a scrappy guy who can mix it up can win a split against you, a scrappy guy who can mix it up is like exactly who Mohamed Naimov is, right?
Yep. I think he's live. I think Naimov is a live underdog. I just don't remember too much. I remember Santos is a very good movement. He's very elusive, very good footwork, and Naimov is kind of just like plodding, like salt of the earth type guy. Very, very strong though, and a good grappler. So I think that's why it's interesting. I think it's going to be a little bit like Riley Grad in a sense. Ironically, Grad fought Naimov, and who won that fight? Naimov won that fight, right? But it was quite close. Was it a split decision or check that? Naimov's last fight was against Bogdan Grad.
Yeah, I feel like we're flagging here, aren't we, lads? Do we know? Does anyone have any idea? I think
I'm just formulating. I just wanted to know how did he win that fight convincingly? I watched some of it. It was a unanimous decision. But I think Bogdan Grad, he knocked him down, didn't he? It wasn't recorded though. He wobbled him with the spinning wheel kick.
I mean, your memory is better than mine.
Yeah, I taped this for the Luke Riley fight. Sorry, I can't actually talk about this. Look at me not doing my job. So it was a close kind of fight in that nobody did anything more than 60% worth of like asserting themselves as the better fighter. But Grad did out grapple him with like crotch sniffing against the fence basically, but it was just that one spinning wheel kick in round one that wobbled him, that won Naimov round one, despite the fact that he didn't actually do anything else that was good. It's just the fact that Grad had absolutely no damage or fight ending demonstration himself, so he wasn't able to like win it back. But Naimov was controlled, to be fair.
It's the takedown threat that's going to be the issue here, isn't it? Because you mentioned Francis Marshall was able to get him down and control him.
I think the control time was big though.
One-way traffic. Look at the defense of Santos. I mean, it's only like 2 fights, isn't it? 3 fights, 66%. It's hard to hit this guy. He's very evasive. And I mean, Naimov has a negative striking differential, so he's getting hit more on the feet. So he's just a bad striker, basically. He wants to get this down. Question is, can he get it down? Does he have the gas to just keep shooting over and over again?
I think Sadiq Yusuf is low-key actually quite a good wrestler grappler when he wants to be. So for him to land one takedown but only have 2 minutes of control time maybe is positive for Myron Santos. I feel like the striking levels here probably help Santos win rounds because Naimov is not particularly lethal. His top control is not particularly good. So I feel like it's going to be one of those like Naimov's going to have to work really hard to even be in with a chance of winning. But even if he is in with a chance, I don't think he's going to be like dominant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Decision sounds great. Yeah.
That's a decision. We did it. How many fights? 15 fights. I think it was
14 fights. Yeah.
14
Big
fights.
ass card.
Christ.
We did well. I think there's some bets to be made though.
Oh
Definitely.
Oh yeah. Yeah, me too.
Even money fights there, which need to be looked into a bit more. You know the deal. We're back in a week's time. All 3 of us will give you our bets.